The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. This is Mike Montefusco from the National Weather Service office here in Wakefield, Virginia. This is our Thursday weekly weather briefing, outlining the weather conditions for the upcoming weekend into the middle portion of next week. Take a look at the weather highlights we have for you going ahead. In the wake of our strong cold front yesterday, colder and drier air is building into the region through the next couple of days. So that cooler, drier pattern will take hold across the region before we have a pair of weather systems moving across the region later in the weekend into early next week, which will bring a couple of windows for some lighter precipitation across the local area. In terms of marine conditions, our small craft advisories continue this early today. They are going to gradually drop off as we get through this Thursday. That is going to also lead to some diminishing, more benign marine conditions as we get into the later portion of today, into the weekend. Winds do turn around to the north-northeast tomorrow, and that will result in building seas over the following couple of days. And we do have some small craft conditions that will become increasingly likely as we get into later Saturday and through the day on Sunday, especially in the coastal waters and the lower bay and lower James River as well. Take a look at the weather pattern for the week ahead. Again, clearing and colder as we go ahead in the next couple of days. Another weak system will be approaching as we get into later in the day on Saturday into early Sundays, with some light precipitation indicated as we get into the day on Sunday. Again, no blockbuster rainfall with that. Unfortunately, we do need some additional rainfall despite the rains of the past couple of days. Not a whole lot of rain is going to be expected with that. Generally some lighter amounts expected. Taking a look at the upcoming rainfall over the next 72 hours, and this is toward that point. No additional rainfall is expected through. This is basically through Saturday night. We do have some lighter rainfall moving through during the day on Sunday, which you will see in the following graphics here. But again, just a couple of windows of some lighter precipitation. Again, mainly north and northwestern western portions of the Commonwealth will receive the most precipitation here. But even at that point, looking at between a quarter and a half of an inch at the very most over the next week or so. So a couple of lighter systems bringing some light rainfall over the early portions of next week. Take a look at the regional forecast summary. Much cooler, as you'll notice here for the later week period. Do start to moderate and warm up as we get into early next week. So you start to see those upper 60s, even around 70 as we get into early next week across portions of our area. Low temperatures much colder. As you can see here, the coldest night will come tonight, Thursday night, on into Friday morning, with another cold night following for Friday night into Saturday with that strong high pressure building into the region. Looking at our precipitation forecast, again, not a whole lot going on until we get into the day on Sunday. Maybe Sunday morning we get into some lighter precipitation, but the majority of it will fall later Sunday on into Monday night, and then another window for precipitation by the middle of next week, probably later Tuesday into Wednesday. Looking at the marine wind probabilities, and again, gradually diminishing. Those winds will be backing down today. So early, you see here, these probabilities of higher probabilities of wind will gradually diminish through the day here. So these winds will diminish through the day, and then just kind of improving conditions as we get into Friday and Saturday. Looking at the marine threat potential, again, those winds and marine threats kind of back down through the day here today. And then you'll see the building seas for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with respect to that north-northeast wind kind of increasing that onshore flow, which will increase our seas. Wind gusts, and again, these will mostly be maximized next couple of through today into this evening before they start to diminish. But as you look at the wave height forecast here, this will actually be later in the weekend into Monday that it actually gets maximized. Seas diminish today and will build through the weekend into early next week with that onshore flow. And to that point, gradually diminishing offshore winds here today and tonight. That turns around to the northeast for tomorrow. And then as we get into the weekend, winds basically turn around to the east northeast and increase, which will result in building seas as we get into later Saturday and especially Sunday, Monday, even on into Tuesday with respect to our wave heights. That is also going to be driving low tides here today. Strong west northwesterly winds are producing some lower than a normal tidal cycle here as we get into the day here. We have a couple of low water advisories in effect at this time here Thursday morning, but that'll gradually back down here over the next few hours. And while those tides will not be as low as they were as we saw last week, there are going to be some localized areas where our tides do bottom out about a foot below mean low water. So there could be some issues with that as we get on through the day here today and into this evening. The drought monitor, certainly we did get some beneficial rains over the past couple of days. Those drought conditions, however, do persist, especially northern neck and the eastern shore of Maryland and Virginia. So that does continue. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of improvement with respect to just some lighter rainfall as we get into the early next week to midweek period. But certainly we did get a little bit of improvement with respect to the rain that we did receive over the past couple of days. Looking ahead to next week, generally near normal near normal temperatures are expected, with near to above normal precipitations levels are expected as we get into next week. Our normals generally in the lower 50s, middle 50s across the southeastern portions of the Commonwealth into northeast North Carolina. But typically we'll be in a kind of a cooler pattern to start, and as we get into next week, we do gradually start to warm up, moderate temperatures a little bit as we get into the middle portion of next week. Once again, those weather highlights for you. Colder and drier air is building into the region through the next couple of days. We do have a couple of weak systems that'll bring the potential for some precipitation, namely Sunday night, and then another chance as we get into later Tuesday into Wednesday. Those small craft advisory conditions do back off today with that offshore wind diminishing as we get through the day into tomorrow. Winds turn around to the northeast tomorrow, turning around to the east northeast over the weekend. That's going to result in building seas and eventually some additional small craft advisories as we get into later Saturday and into early next week, especially over the coastal waters, the lower bay, the lower James River, for those areas in particular. That's about it for your weather highlights for today. Hope that's helpful for you. Otherwise, have a great day, and we will talk to you early next week.